Yeah, brilliant. Obviously, it was a frustrating first part of the season. To get back in the team and be back here is sort of a nice end to a difficult journey, really.
That difficult journey, I mean, 6 months out with a shoulder injury, how difficult was that time for you?
Yeah, it was tough. You get injured. It was a longer term injury. I probably didn't know the details of it at the time, didn't realise the scale of it, to be honest. So the first part of it's okay, you sort of get your rehabilitation in. Towards the end, when your mind sort of thinks that you're ready, but physically you're not quite there, that can be a touch frustrating. And probably the hardest bit of all is being back fit and then not playing. It's difficult. But you put the work in the grass, the opportunity comes, and thankfully I'm back here today. Not
connected, but of course you missed out on the World Cup as well, on the standby list. How was that to take?
Well, in fairness, I think being involved in it in any sort of form was brilliant. Having not played a lot of football over the 9 months I was out, to be sort of still considered, still 2 weeks here in the preparation weeks, was great for me personally. Actually, it was a real lift after the end of a tough season. It sort of goes on both ways really. I try not to look at things as what could have been. I was delighted to be there. Obviously a difficult moment, waving them off, and wishing them all the best, of course. But on a personal note, slightly tough. But overall, I think it was a real positive experience for me to be involved in it, especially after a difficult time. And I enjoyed it, and I was very thankful that the manager got me involved in that.
It was such a special time for this country, with all that they achieved out there. But it must have been bittersweet for you. Was there part of you thinking, oh, brilliant, they've only gone and done incredibly well as well, I'm not a part of it?
No negativity, to be honest. I've been part of it and understood it, and I think you get a feel of how together everyone is here. Delighted to see them do so well, really. The real positive momentum that the whole country got behind it was great. I certainly felt that way. Of course, on an individual level, you want to be involved in it, but I understood the situation. And I was absolutely delighted, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, to be honest. I thoroughly enjoyed watching it over the summer. It was a great tournament, and I thought the performances were excellent.
Did you have to cancel holidays and stuff because you were on standby? Did it completely change your plans?
No, it didn't actually. The manager was great. I knew the sort of timings, worked around that a little bit, so there's no issues at all with that.
Now, I'm being sensitive about this one, but you're 33 next month. And it's pretty clear that Gareth Southgate is trying to promote as many young players as he can in this squad. With that in mind and all that stuff you went through, was there a stage where you thought, I might never get back in that England squad?
No, I don't think so. I try not to do too much forecasting really about anything. I think you can only put your work in day to day. Focus on right in front of you, what's right there, the short-term thinking. I was obviously coming into the squad. I was aware that I was the eldest player, which is certainly an interesting one. I don't feel that old, but maybe I'm getting that way. But I think I always sort of wanted to be ready for the next opportunity that came post-injury. Yes, I was out for a long time. I've now been back for a while, and I wanted to be better next time I came around. So I didn't put any limits on it. You never know in football. You never know what's around the corner. Things can change very quickly. I think I'm an example of that. I was obviously always gearing up to try and getting back involved in the squad, and it's nice to be here.
What about all the youngsters in this squad? We've kind of alluded to it there. Hudson-Odoi hasn't even started a Premier League game yet, and he's out there. He looks incredibly comfortable. He looks as though he's loving every minute of it. What did you make of him? How good can he be, do you think, Tom?
Obviously in the sort of couple of days training we've done so far, he seemed very comfortable splashing the ball past me, so it's certainly an interesting one. I think he looks like he's got all the potential in the world. I think you can say that about a lot of players in the squad. The fearlessness, nature that a lot of these young lads have got, the potential, their ability. And I think what's probably a little bit, a real sort of good thing for the team really is how much more they've got to give. I think they'll only get better the more they get involved in it, the more experience they get. So I think it's an exciting time actually.
How do you see the rivalry with Jordan Pickford?
Yeah, obviously enjoying it. I think for all the goalkeepers, I think he's been outstanding wearing the England shirt. I thought he was incredible in the summer in the World Cup. I think his performances were really top drawn, and never an easy thing to do, putting the England goalkeeper jersey on. And I thought he did it superbly well. So yeah, I think you're here, you compete for the place. Of course, everyone wants to play. But you think about yourself, you look at your sort of intrinsic thinking, try and get your things right and see what the manager decides. But there'll be no issues with any of that really.
You've had to see off Joe Hart and Nick Pope at your own club, and they're all English, of course, as well. So I wonder how much that level of competition has spurred you on.
Yeah, I think you can look through, every position at every club throughout anyone's career. You're always going to get competition for places. It's certainly been a strong department at Burnley this year. Obviously, Popey, Harty, Adam Legstins, Anders Lindegaard. We've got 5 senior goalkeepers, and yeah, I've enjoyed the challenge. As ever, you're trying to look at too much what anyone else is doing. Focus on yourself. Make sure you're right. Make sure you put the performances in. And hopefully it pays you back at some point. So yeah, that won't be any different.
It's been a strange time at Burnley though, hasn't it? You've got 8 Premier League games unbeaten, and then you lose 4 on the trot. How worrying is that for you right now? How do you see the relegation battle down there?
We don't do too much worrying, to be honest, if I'm honest about it. Obviously you're aware of the situation around you. I think, we did go through a good spell. 8 games unbeaten, I think there was 5 wins in there. So that was a great run. We've obviously found a little touch patch in the last sort of 4 games, but we won't look any further than the next fixture. It's obviously international week at the moment. Once we get back, we'll get our heads on that. But I think it'll just be focused on putting some points in the board, putting the performances in, and seeing where that takes us.
Hi, good representation really from Burnley in this squad. Obviously yourself and Tom and Dwight coming up to train with you guys. Do you think there's been a bit of a shift under Gareth really, that the smaller Premier League teams are now being more recognised in terms of spreading this squad around?
Perhaps. I think it tends to come down to performances, individual performances. I think Taki obviously been involved for a while now. His performances have more than warranted that. And Dwight himself has been a revelation actually. Since he's come in the team, he's been absolutely outstanding. Again, I think he's another one of those players that are put in the bracket of an awful lot of potential and only going to get better. We're impressed with him every day at Burnley. And he's coming today, and the lads have been telling me that he was like a duck to water. He was outstanding. So it's good for him and good for the club. But yeah, I think it's just a matter of looking at the individuals, seeing what performances they put in. At Premier League football, it's never easy. So if players are performing at a high level, then it's usually warranted.
I'm sure as a team you never wish ill of anyone, but goalkeeper is a particularly unique position. And with Jordan having such a fantastic World Cup, but at the moment he's made the most errors leading to a goal of any goalkeeper in the Premier League. Is that an opportunity for you?
I don't tend to look at it like that, to be honest. I have to say, I think for me it's about myself, what I do, what each individual does. I think for me, Jordan's performance has been outstanding for England, and that's where it's at. I think there's no more. I try not to look at anyone else. As ever, the thinking's on myself, and we'll see what happens. We've got a few days training. You obviously try and perform in training, impress the manager, and see what decision he makes, and you respect that decision and support whoever's in. So, for me, it's not a big one, that for me.
Okay, guys, I think that's the end of the first section. We'll move on to the 10:30.